Alright, today on Stickem Outdoors, I'm going to show you how to put together a snare. Tomorrow trapping season opens here in Kentucky, so I'm going to try to make a few snares and I'm going to show you how to put them together. Only tools you need: try to get the camera set up here. Only tools you need is a hammer, a good pair of side cutters, and a pair of pliers. I have some 3/32 cable. I have just some regular black threaded nuts. I think they're a quarter. Just some washers. And these right here, these are the locks. This is what actually keeps the cable from sliding back open after it's wrapped itself around the neck of the animal. And then swivels. Here's a finished snare. You'll see this little nut right here. That keeps the snare from closing up all the way. Some states require that you put them on there, some states don't. It's more of a safety mechanism to where it won't let it catch a deer's leg or a small animal like that. It'll be able to free itself. They also put springs on here. That's just more or less to help pull the snare tight. I don't use those either. Most of my snares I put on fences, and I'll try to make a video when I'm setting them tomorrow on how I put my snares up. I know there's several different ways, but I'll show you the way that works better for me. First off, what you're going to do is most people pull out around 5 foot to make a snare. I usually use just a little bit shorter because, like I said, I'm hooking it to fences. I'm not putting it on trees or anything like that. And if you have any kind of bend in that cable, I always try to use that on the end that my swivel goes. That way up here, the part that actually catches the animal slides real freely. You don't want any kind of resistance on it because the animal will feel it and he'll slide out of it. So what I'll do is I'll pull out about 4 foot. And I'll just cut it off. I'll go ahead and I'll make 5 of them. Get all your anything that you want to get if you're trying to get into trapping. Fur Harvester's Trading Post has just about anything you can imagine for very good prices. Especially if you're a beginner, you can contact them. They'll tell you exactly what you need to get. This right here actually came from them. Everything comes, you get 100 foot of cable, and you get enough stuff to make 100 snares. Now that I've got my wires cut, I'm going to need 5 nuts. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these nuts and I'm going to take the hammer and I'm going to put it on an anvil and I'm going to smash them nuts down right on the end of these. I'm going to trim this off. It's got a little bend right there. So now what I'm going to do is just take it over here. Try to get my camera set up. All I want to do is put that nut to where it's right there even with the edge of the wire. And I missed. Now that I have my nuts flattened down on here, now I can start putting my locks on. If you'll notice, it's like an L shape. One end has just a hole for the cable, the other end is slotted. See how it's bent? You want that bend pointing forward. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my cable and I'm going to run it through this side of it. I'm going to run it all the way down to the nut. Now I can run my cable back through this other hole. Now when I run mine down, I'm getting ready to have to bend this back. But I want to find the spot, the way this cable twists, that'll slide the easiest. Once I figure that out, I know how much to bend this around. So now what I'll do, I'll run that through just a little bit. I'll grab that nut and I'll just kind of roll it. Just putting a slight bend in it. Then when I get it down here, I'll bend it on around. Now you can see how it's bent around. Now my cable slides real freely. And what that does right there, once it slides down, it keeps it from sliding back. So now you actually have to tip up on it to slide it back out. But it slides down real easy. We'll go ahead and put the locks on the rest of them. Again, you see how it's bent forward. We come into the back side, run it down to the nut, and we'll run it back through. When we get it down here, we figure out which side of this right here. As you can see right here, how this is trying to twist. That tells me that I need to bring this bend it back this way. I know I keep getting too close to the camera, but I'm trying to get to where y'all can see what I'm doing. See, that right there is dragging on my cable. But now I know which way it's trying to hang up, so now I'll bend this over this way. That way my cable will slide real freely. Now once I have it locked in and I bent my cable the right way, you see how it hangs evenly. It comes in, it hangs straight, and it slides real freely. And again, just run it back to the back. Running my cable up through there. You can see how it's trying to cross. I'll pull my lock on the back side, and now I know which way I need to bend my cable. You see how it hangs straight. Slides real easy. Now that I have all my locks on, they're all sliding freely. Only thing now I have to do is I'll take my swivel, slide here on the opposite end, slide it on. I'll slide my washer on. It keeps the swivel from coming off once you have the nut on the other end. And I'll do the same thing. I'll take my nut, I'll put it on the end of that cable, and I'll flatten it. And what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll put all my swivels and my washers on. You'll notice this is the one that had that bad bend in it, in that cable. That's why I put it on the end that my swivel is going to be on. That's not going to affect that snare opening and closing. Now that I've got all these, On this end, it really doesn't matter. You can pick up nuts from any local hardware store, Lowe's, Walmart, whatever. But on the opposite end, I do like to use a dark colored nut. That way it doesn't shine so much. And all that I'm going to do is come right back over here. And there you have it. There's 5 snares made. Very short time. This is a very effective way of catching animals. And tomorrow I'll try to make a video showing you how I set mine. That's how it's done right there. You can see how the swivel and the washer, now after this is hooked to the fence or a tree, they cannot get away.